Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your home is going into foreclosure and you feel like a financial wreck. You don't know where to turn for accurate information. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne. Let's talk about some legal options. If we work quickly, we can propose a plan to save your home, modify the loan, or in many cases even eliminate your second mortgage. The consultation is free. I've helped hundreds of people just like you make informed decisions about whether to save their home or exit it on a reasonable, organized timeline. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. This week's Loud and Local Band of the Week is Avoid. It's our Loud and Local Band of the Week, Avoid. You want to find out how you can get their music? Well, Steve knows. He knows how to do it.
Got a brand new EP. It's titled The Burner, so check that out. And if this music's sounding kind of familiar and you play a video game called NASCAR Heat 5, you might know some of their songs because their music, a couple of their songs featured on that video game. How cool is that?
And if you want all the info, just go to the BJ and Migs page at KISW.com. And if you want all the local music, well, check out Loud and Local. It's a great show we have on Sunday nights here on The Rock. Starts at 8 o'clock. 2 solid hours of great local music. Bands like Avoid.
Let's play Beat Migs.
I will beat anyone that calls in to play the game. He's smarter than you. He'll make you look lame. 60 seconds on the clock. You're going down and I'm gonna rock. It's time to play the game. Yeah. So everybody scream his name. Beat Migs, don't be a loser. Whoa. Beat Migs, you're a loser.
It is time to beat Migs, and we made it. It's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. I don't know where he is, but I'm assuming Danny's jumping.
I haven't gotten a text yet, but I would agree with you. I bet he is dancing or jumping.
Partying, 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 partying.
Yeah.
Fun. Looking forward to the week.
Happy Friday, everyone. If Danny's not jumping, well, everyone out there, I hope you're jumping. Or something.
We're all jumping.
Yeah, jump around. Let's get to our contestant. We got Thomas in Puyallup. Thomas, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. All right, Steve, get out of here. Get out of here. For those playing at home, Thomas will have 60 seconds to answer 10 questions. Thomas, you can pass all you want, but you will only get 3 guesses per question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It keeps going and going and going is the slogan for what battery company?
Energizer.
Yes. What is the capital of Ohio?
Cleveland? Columbus.
No. Yes. Brett Favre retired from the NFL in what early 2010s year?
2012, 2013, 2011.
No. Metamorphic, sedimentary, and igneous are all types of what?
Rock.
Yes. What was the last album recorded by the Beatles?
Pass.
A person who has been canonized has been granted what status?
Pass.
Mitt Romney is a senator from what state?
Oh, pass.
What are there 270 of in the average human baby, but only 206 of in an adult?
Bones.
Yes. Alfred Nobel is credited with the invention of what explosive?
Dynamite.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that bone question a little bit later. I have questions about the bone question.
Oh, really?
I do. You probably don't have answers, but I'm going to ask.
Well, I mean, I might.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I look things up. It really depends on your question, I feel, at that point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk and see if you actually what percentage of the answers that you have.
Oh.
We'll ask Steve. I don't think anyone's going to have your back on this one, brother.
All right. Well, I mean, maybe I'll surprise you this time.
It'll have to be a surprise. I might even be willing to bet you that you may or may not know.
I'm not going to make any wagers. It's no betting rev for 2021.
But you got to bet on yourself, son.
One day you'll crack.
Yeah, probably will. Steve, are you ready?
Just in from the text desk. Danny indeed was jumping. He texted in saying, jumping on my way to get my COVID test. Haha.
Oh, nice.
Don't jump while taking the COVID test, though.
No, that'll put that Q-tip right in your brain.
Yeah.
That's a little awkward there. Steve, you ready?
Yes.
It keeps going and going and going. It's the slogan for what?
Energizer Bunny.
Yes. What is the capital of Ohio?
Canton.
No.
Cincinnati.
No.
Oh, man. Columbus.
Yes. Brett Favre retired from the NFL in what early 2010s year?
2010.
Yes. Metamorphic, sedimentary, and igneous are all types of what?
Sleep.
No.
Brains.
No.
Brains? Words.
No. What was the last album recorded by the Beatles?
That Let It Be?
No.
Oh. Yellow Submarine?
No.
Sgt. Pepper?
No.
Wait.
No. A person who has been canonized.
The White Album?
No.
Oh.
A person who has been canonized has been granted what status?
King.
No.
Cannon.
No.
Glenn.
No. Mitt Romney is a senator for what state?
Oh, come on, man. Arkansas?
No.
Nebraska?
No.
New York.
No. And Steve, well, it's a bad Friday for you. You lose 5-3. Wow.
It's a party.
Congrats, Thomas.
Good job, Thomas. All right. Well, Thomas is very excited.
Yeah, I can tell.
And so am I. Oh, yeah.
Man.
Now, I would say, Steve, if it was 5-4, I would have advocated for you because I think someone would have to award you $1 million because those were indeed words.
I'm not going to allow that.
I think
they are words.
They are words.
You could say that with
not wrong.
any of those questions that I have. Does that mean I have to just jettison all of those types of questions now?
I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I mean, he's not wrong. All I'm saying is, you know what? It's a good thing you don't have $1 million you got to give away. You could be sued. I think someone's going to sue somebody.
Yeah, I'm filing a lawsuit.
So good luck with that.
I blame you.
One of the ones you did not get correct was that one, which Thomas did, and those are all rocks.
Oh,
Looking for rocks. Rocks.
Words.
Does anybody know what the last album recorded by the Beatles was?
I was going to say Let It Be myself. I don't know.
No, it's Abbey Road.
Abbey Road was their last album?
Yeah.
Wow.
I looked it up. I'm pretty
Abbey Road
sure.
came out in 1969 and Let It Be came out in 1970, according to this.
Really?
Oh, Rev, you are a genius.
No, I got screwed then.
And you screwed me because that messed me up for the whole game. It messed up my
and-
mojo and momentum.
You were like
the
halfway
words.
through it.
So
I would have
there's
changed
two
the whole
questions.
course of the game.
Because you would have been tied because your words are correct.
That is not correct.
And Let It Be was correct.
And let's shave off some time because I guess Let It Be first.
You spent a year and a half on the capital of Ohio question.
And I got it right.
Where did you get the information that Abbey Road was the last album?
I don't remember.
In Rev's defense, it was the final Beatles album to be recorded but not released. Oh, what was the question?
Oh, and I said, what was the last album recorded by the Beatles? Thank you, Joe!
Joe? I've never been more excited to have Danny come back. He would not have done that research.
I take it back. I was wrong.
Monday cannot come soon enough. That COVID test better be.
So wait a second. So they recorded Abbey Road after Let It Be, but decided to let It Be the last album?
Dude, they were banging out new records every year.
That
they put out Yellow Submarine and Abbey Road in the same year, in 69. I mean, it was like, it isn't like Tool where they take 5 years.
5 years.
I mean, you think about how many records they put out. They put out records like a couple records.
They had Let It Be in the hopper, and they didn't release it. So they did Abbey Road, Yellow Submarine, released them the same year, and also apparently had had Let It Be also because Abbey Road was recorded last.
Possibly, yeah.
That's nuts. So they had 3 albums that could have been released in the same year.
Dude, it's crazy to think of like how prolific they were when you look at like Sgt. Pepper came out in 67, so did Magical Mystery Tour. And then the next year was the White Album. That was it's been a year. That was it. Then the next year, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road. It's insane how many records they were putting out back then.
Wow. There was a lot of pressure. I remember that at least because the Beach Boys were trying to keep up with the Beatles, and they were under the same kind of pressure to have a new album every year.
Wow.
And apparently,
what band does a new album every year anymore at all?
None.
they released Let It Be in 1970 alongside the film of the same name, so that's probably why.
Oh, maybe they were holding on to it for that.
Oh.
I don't know.
Wow, that's really. I mean, it's funny that Abbey Road was the last one because we always thought "Let It Be" was their answer to "Let Them Be." Like they're going to end they're going to be. This is their last album. That is really wild.
Maybe it was. Maybe they knew that. Hey, if we're going to if we're done, this should be our final record.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, you know what, Rev? I got to give you credit. That's a nice piece of trivia that you had no idea about.
Good Friday.
You had no idea.
You don't know that I didn't know all about that.
Took Joey to help you out with that.
Yeah. One of the other questions that you did not get to, Steve, is what are there 270 of in the average human baby, but only 206 of in an adult?
Brain cells.
No. Bones. Yes.
All right. I have a question, Steve.
Yes.
And it's a follow-up question to this. Do you think Rev will be able to answer it based on the research that he does?
I think he'll make something up and hope that Joe confirms it.
Fair enough. So, if babies have more bones than adults, where do they go?
They fuse together.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, you did know that.
Yes,
okay,
I actually did know that one. It's like the bones in the skull will all fuse together, and there's other ones as well that do that.
You learned that in elementary school.
And you expect me to remember it now?
I don't expect you to remember what you had for breakfast.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, what'd you have for breakfast?
A peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I have it every day.
Good job, Steve.
Nice.
But I was talking to a buddy on the phone. He's like, hey, what'd you guys talk about on the show this morning? And I honestly, I had no answer. I said, I don't know. And he's like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, you're going to have to give me a minute. I have to go through my emails and see our little recap of the show. I have no idea what we talked about.
We talk about a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I can never remember it either, man.
Well, sorry you lost, buddy.
Yeah, Steve, sorry you lost.
I'll forget by today.
Yeah. Good job. Well, it is time for Listeners on the Loose. This is where you get to pick the topic that we'll probably forget as well, because we don't know what we're doing, so you might as well guide this show. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. We got your calls. We got your texts at 917 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock. 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. It's Listeners on the Loose. You pick the topic. You guide the show. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. Look, man, if no one's listening to you, well, we'll listen to you. But remember, though, Steve will stop listening if you don't do it the right way.
Well, don't bore us. Get to the chorus. Show some energy and bring it. Otherwise, we're gonging you, BJ. And then we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye, old friend.
206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999.
Someone just texted, guys, did you see Stephen A. Smith was talking about hockey because ESPN just purchased the rights to hockey? And he says he doesn't know much about hockey, but he knows a few things. And he gave us a shout out. Go Kraken.
Oh, nice.
I think we have the audio of him. So he did like a top 5 list of things that he actually does know about hockey. And one of the things that he knows about when it comes to hockey is the Seattle Kraken.
The
Let's go to number 5 of the top 5 things I know about hockey. Number 5, give it to me. Release the Kraken. Why? For those of you who don't know, Seattle gets an expansion team next year. The Kraken is a mythological sea monster, a giant squid from the 1800s. Listen, you didn't think I know that. That's right. But damn it, it's the Kraken in Seattle, which is a beautiful city, especially when the sun is shining. Now they're getting a hockey team. You rain so damn much, the least it can do is not a beyond expectation to expect that water to turn to ice when it gets a little bit cold. The Kraken is coming to Seattle, Washington. I like that.
I like it too.
Wow, man, Stephen A. Smith is definitely give me whatever Starbucks he's drinking. That's all I have to say.
Right?
Yeah. That is really a cool shout out. I love that.
That's pretty fun. And I love that the Seattle Kraken's like, yep, number 5, the only thing on this list that matters, Steven.
So true. So true. It is so awesome. I mean, every time I hear the name the Kraken, I just feel like we did it.
We did.
It feels so grassroots to me that we agree on a team name. I've never agreed on any team name at all. I just,
I'll just never forget that moment when we're here on the air and watching the live broadcast of them announcing the team name. I was like, there was like maybe a minuscule amount of hope that they would actually go with the Kraken. But, you're like, there's no chance. It's too much fun. It kind of has a silly name, but it's a fun name. And when they announced that, it's just Goosebump City.
Yeah. I mean, there's been people that have been alive all the way through the big professional teams that were actually created here. I'm sure these people are still kicking. And they got to, the Seahawks, the Mariners, obviously the Sounders that was a great one because it was so historic to have that name. I wonder, to me, this feels like it is a name that people wanted. I don't know if anybody ever really asked to have it called the Seahawks or have it called the Mariners. I don't know if they even put it out to anybody when they named those teams.
I thought there was a voting on that, but I could be wrong. But I mean, there were people actually that weren't happy about the Kraken name either. But, I think everyone's just going to get used to it. It's just no different than the Mariners. I mean, or Seahawks. You probably at first when you hear something like that, you're like, oh, that sounds weird. And then when you get used to it, you get used to it.
I feel like everybody that was cool, though, wanted the Kraken.
Everybody that was cool. Yes.
Yeah. I just felt like everyone's like, I hope. And all the people that wanted the Kraken felt like it was never going to happen.
And it did. And it's so much fun whenever you walk around. I always see somebody rocking a Kraken hoodie or a Kraken T-shirt. If you're walking through a grocery store or whatever, it's just like, yeah, that's right. That's our team. This is awesome.
It's so true, Steve. You're right. I mean, it seems like everybody's rocking that gear. So listeners on the loose, you pick the topic, you guide the show, 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999.
Oh, someone says, hey, you guys gave me your opinions a few months ago about my wife putting ketchup and mayo on her pizza, but I need your opinions again.
Okay.
Apparently, she's not putting ketchup and mayo on her pizza anymore, but she'll throw corn on there. Corn. Last time you guys sided with her, but come on, that's weird, right?
Not at all. Mod Pizza.
I knew that pizza's going to be on
corn.
board. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've tried it because, and I don't know where I heard I should try this, but I wondered. I know they serve salads at Mod Pizza, but corn is not something you usually find in a salad either. And I'm like, really, corn? And then they hit, one of the Mod Pizza delivery, whatever you call them, delivery artists, pizza wonderful people.
It's a pizza wonderful people. Yes.
They said, oh, dude. Got to try some corn on your pizza. It'll change your life. And you know what they did? They changed my life. I hate to say it, dude. I'm with your wife again. Corn on pizza. It's like pineapple. There's a sweetness there that really goes well with the savory of everything else on the pizza.
Somebody just texted in, speaking of the Kraken, I was just wondering, speaking of the Kraken, when can we expect maybe to see what the team is going to look like as far as players? That will be July 21st. That's when the expansion draft happens. And that's when we start plucking players from other teams to create our team.
And we'll also know where we are in the regular draft, right, Steve?
Yep.
Which is the young person's draft.
Yep, that's soon after that. I'm pretty sure we're going to be a top 6 pick. So somewhere between 1 and 6, depending on how the lottery goes, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
And Steve. Steve is probably, knowing Steve, because I remember when the Devils had, one of the top picks a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
you were
Jack
all
Hughes.
over it. Yeah. And how's Jack Hughes doing for you guys?
Actually, really good.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
That team is probably in a couple of years going to be a pretty solid team. There's a lot of young, strong players, but Jack Hughes has been a great pickup for the Devils.
Nice. So, all right, here's for our Jack Hughes. Here's hoping.
Right? I know, dude. It's not that far away when you really think about it.
Not at all.
July?
July for, like you said, the expansion. And then like you said, not too long after, we have the regular, what do they call it? I don't even know what they call that. Just the regular draft?
NHL draft, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, usually, it's funny with hockey, Steve. I mean, usually the players that are in the top players in the draft, I think were you the one telling me? Usually they do really well. Like sometimes in the NFL, you really get a lot of duds. Surely in Major League Baseball, the number one picks a lot of times aren't like anybody you'll ever remember. But it seems like hockey has a good track record with top draft picks.
You usually don't get a dud with like a number 1 or number 2 pick. That has happened from time to time. Like it's not rare, but you're always going to get a solid player. And they might not be the star that you hoped they were going to become, but you're usually going to get a decent enough player that's going to be in the NHL for several years and contribute to your team.
Yeah, I know with baseball, it's not always like that at all. I mean, and also we know with football, I mean, you take a look at some of the players we've had to be so successful for the Seahawks, and a lot of those dudes, man, were not even anywhere near the top.
And someone brought up a good point. Let's hope the Kraken get some wins and get some good players because, without Russell Wilson, wins are going to be hard to come by in the Pacific Northwest.
Here we go. Here we go.
Dude, every day it continues. I don't know if you heard, someone even asked us, hey, did you see what Mike Robinson said, the former Seahawk, when he was asked on television if the Seahawks should trade Russell Wilson? Have you heard this, BJ?
Oh, no. What's now?
This is going to be an interesting piece for you to listen to because it gives a little insight into, I guess, Mike Robb's opinion of Russell Wilson and possibly some of the other players that were once Seahawks' opinion of Russell Wilson.
Hey, man, look, I don't want to be the one on record saying trade one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the National Football League, but hell, he the one that put the news out there. He's the one that said, maybe I need to be more involved, or maybe my O-lines is not as good, or maybe I take too many hits when he's the one back there running around. Now, look, check this out. I don't know what Russell wants, okay? He's paid. They paid him twice in Seattle, okay? The front office made sure that every other alpha male, with the exception of, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright and some of the old school guys that are there, with the exception of those guys, they made sure all of us were out the door, okay, so that this team can be Russell Wilson's. And now this, I just don't know how you walk back in the locker room, D-Hall, where you're saying, my O-line is getting me hit too much. I don't have that much say when Jimmy Graham don't block. The tight end that used to be there, how the hell he get there if you ain't had no say? Just saying.
Yeah. No way. You're just saying? I didn't know you were just saying when you were saying. All of us alpha males were kicked off the team, basically saying.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's a very interesting situation. It's a power struggle. That's what I'm seeing. I am seeing the beginnings of a power struggle. This is drama. Also, that you have an aging player. Russell Wilson is not going to get better. He may stay the same, but I have seen a diminished capacity to his ability to get the hell to run around. I have seen that. We can't argue with that. Whatever the reason, he doesn't run around, and he's not as elusive as he used to be, which was a major, major weapon in his arsenal that we just don't see that much anymore.
Do you remember when they lost to the Rams in the first round this past season, obviously?
Oh, I surely do. That was such a horrible game.
But do you remember it was like a few hours later, he's doing the press conference, and he's still in all of his gear, and a lot of people were maybe an hour later, and they're like, that was so weird. And then there was like that talks like as soon as the game ended, there was a massive chat with him and Schottenheimer and Pete. And it was like, I remember thinking at that time, and it wasn't a big deal because you know all this was going to happen. Hindsight's 2020. But I'm like, that's kind of odd. Like, the guy didn't even take a shower yet. Like, he's still in all of his stuff. Like, he's still. So it's. Man, it's going to be interesting to see. And I don't know if you've seen the latest that's going on with the rumors with Chicago, but I thought this was kind of funny. And you take everything with a grain of salt. And I just find this stuff kind of funny and interesting. I'm not getting too worked up about it. But apparently the sports books took down Russell Wilson, the bet on what his next team is going to be yesterday, the odds.
Oh, wow.
And they also shortened the Bears' future odds to win the division conference and title. As well. So some people are saying, one bookmaker says, I've done a full 180. I'm all aboard the Rust of Chicago hype train. And some people are thinking, yeah, it's kind of odd that they took it off the site and then also increased the Bears Super Bowl odds.
And Steve, you saw, was it the Cardinals? I think the Cardinals who got J.J. Watt?
Yes.
Yeah, so look, our division upgrades defense. You just see that happening. The Rams, of course, we know how good their defense is. Of course, the Cardinals want to shore up theirs. The Niners have all, had a pretty decent defense against us over the years. I mean, last year was a tough year for them because of all the injuries. This is a tough division for anybody who wants to be offensive minded and anybody who gets his butt kicked. I almost can see Russell going, I don't want to play 6 games against this division. They're going to wreck me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that seems kind of odd. Like a guy that wants to win, though, is going to be all worried about playing competitive teams.
Well, and unless, look at Tom Brady. I mean, you got to be smart. You look at Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's a genius because he thought, I cannot win in New England and I'll probably get my ass kicked. Let me find a team that'll at least give me a shot not to get killed and maybe a shot to win. And maybe that's what Russell's doing in his own weird way.
I don't know, man. I think it might be just that whole, what seems to be the recurring theme of just the power struggle. I think he wants more. He wants to be a superstar offensive performer, and with the Seahawks and Pete Carroll, the way he's doing things, I don't know if he feels happy about that.
Yeah,
but
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's a fact.
How about somebody said on the Bears Reddit page they're tracking a private charter flight that's in the air right now from Seattle to Chicago, and they think that a deal has happened. I love all these rumors.
Wow. That's fantastic. I love that too.
This is more speculation than what happened with WandaVision for the last 7 weeks.
Russell Vision.
Right, yeah.
So wait, who's the bad guy? Is there a bad guy that's going to be running the show that we don't know about?
His agent, clearly.
Oh, his agent is Mephisto.
Oh, there we go. That's it. So we think Russell's the bad guy. As it turns out, it's going to be somebody completely different.
Spoiler alert, I haven't watched this yet.
Oh, you haven't watched Russell? Yeah, he's the quarterback for the Seahawks.
WandaVision. Now I know someone's a bad guy.
No, good. Yeah, good. That'll really help you figure that show out. Yeah. You know what?
See if you remember that, Steve.
Yeah.
And so Russell Wilson's the bad guy in WandaVision?
Steve, you will not get through episode 1 of WandaVision. I have no problems that you will not be spoiled of anything. You'll never get through episode 1.
That sounds like a challenge now.
I'm a betting and challenge man.
Okay.
And I'm not taking that bet.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right, there we go. It is Listeners on the Loose. You pick the topic. You guide the show. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. We got more of your calls. We got more of your texts. We'll do that at 9:34 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs. Mornings on The Rock. 99.9 KISW.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
New on Curiosity Stream. With superior armies comes superior weapons. How has innovation mechanized the battlefield? From bullets to battleships and everything in between. It's machinery of warfare. Plus, from the gross to the gourmet. See how that in-flight meal lands on your tray table. On secrets of your airline food. It's all on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. It's Listeners on the Loose. You pick the topic, you guide the show. Let's go to Tim in Olympia. Tim, you are on The Rock.
Hey, BJ Shea.
Who cares? What you got for us today, Tim?
Hey, awesome. The governor said yesterday that they're going to open up the seating to the Mariners. They can now have 9,000 fans in the stadium.
So they can fill the ballpark is what they, just like they always do. Hey.
I was wondering where they're going to get the other 3,000 fans.
I took
come
your punch
on.
Sorry,
Opening day gets a good turnout.
Yeah.
We're good for 12,000.
One of the best things I remember from last year, it was the very first day that we ever heard about social distancing, and one of you guys were talking about it on the show, and they said, well, what is it? What does it look like? And one of you said, hey, has anyone ever been to a Mariners game? It's just like that.
So true. I mean, we hate to say it's so true.
And one year later, here we are.
Mariners got a lot of exciting young players. 2 Gold Glovers, 1 Rookie of the Year.
Right.
I mean, seriously, they got some good young dudes out there. And I'm
Big
excited.
Maple's back.
Big. And actually, I think Big Maple will do really well because he had to go see a psychologist in New York because of the pressure of those rabid Yankee fans. And yet, we're chill out here, and I think Big Maple will thrive again. What a plus that'll be if he can pitch.
Do you think as like him and his age, like, okay, James, where do you want to go? He goes, I just need to go somewhere where there's zero pressure. Nobody cares if I win or lose. He's like, you want to go back to Seattle? Yes.
Yeah, it's so true, Steve. It is so true. I mean, it's amazing that some people could thrive out here because, the Bostons, the New Yorks, you don't want to play out there. They're crazy out there.
Dude, that's a psychological beating. I mean, not only do you have the media all over you, you're on the front page of their newspapers, people crapping all over you, but then the fan base, not necessarily the most tactful when it comes to how they talk to their superstars.
206-421-ROCK, text us at 77999. Richard in Issaquah, you are on the Rock.
Hey, guys. Hey, it's
Rich.
about time Russell Wilson leaves town.
All right. Good old Russell Wilson. I'm with you, buddy. Get rid of him. And what about Russell Wilson, though? Should we keep him?
Well, you got to get something big in return.
Well, you got to get a newer, younger quarterback. It's a young man's game now.
Yeah, tell that to Tom Brady, who just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man.
It was too close.
That's a ridiculous statement. It's a young man's game. We just had Tom Brady and Gronk put on a show at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I watched it. I did. Seriously.
He beat the young man.
Richard, thank you for the call. Here's what I love, Richard. You know what they got to do? They got to go out and get a guy that can win games, and then get other guys that can win games, and they should all get together and win games.
Oh, Steve, you just blew a hole through his whole
to be able to get another.
Of all time to say it's a young man's game. We're fresh off of a 40-something-year-old man winning a Super Bowl.
That's not
to an 80-year-old, that's a young man.
Yeah, he's still a young man to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, to get another quarterback, that is not an easy thing. This is why it's tough to even think of letting Russell go. The problem is that we don't seem to be the kind of team that's focused on a star quarterback. We just don't. I don't think we ever have been. And even when we try to let Russell cook, once Russell's oven stalled for a little bit and he couldn't get the pilot light going, it seemed like nobody knew what to do. Like for the rest of the season, nobody knew what to do. And I feel like a super offensive-minded team would have known what to do. They would not have let it go on so long where he was as ineffective as he was and the entire offense. So I think he's kind of wasted in Seattle. We're not an offensive-minded team, and I don't know. I mean, do you want to sit here and go, yeah, Russell's a great guy making skillions, and we never go further than the first round? How long do you want to do that?
Not anymore. Done.
Steve standing up. He's finally standing up. Now, here's what I would like to say, Steve. If we continue to hear rumors like this, I mean, this is going to be a little crazy, a little out of the ordinary, but we may have to do a little off-season conversation with our buddy Mitch from Mitch Unfiltered.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we may have to. I mean, I don't like to talk to Mitch, as you know, because, he thinks he knows sports better than me, and I don't want to talk to people.
Right. I mean, how many years has he really done any kind of sports
what does he know? I mean, he was right about a couple of hundred things this year. But, I put that aside. But we may have to talk to Mitch to see if there's any scenario where, and where he puts the percentage on this. Because, for the most part, Mitch has been pretty right about a lot of stuff that's happened.
I mean, just what a mind F to go from, never. I mean, when that interview came out with Dan Patrick, I think so many of us, myself included, were just like, I think we're blowing it out of proportion. And I kept thinking that. And I think everybody kept thinking that. But the more this goes on, I mean, that old saying of where there's smoke, there's fire, you start to think, it's like, well, there's so many people with so many sources. I mean, I know it's a slow sports talk time, because of obviously it's the off season, but man, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think we're close to thinking, like, should we rip the Band-Aid off or not? I feel like that's where we are. It's like, but it's still mostly on, but should we rip it off? I think that's where we are in this process. I can't believe it. Is it possible, like you said, Steve, either this year or next year, there will be no more, like the Russell Wilson era could end? I mean, I'm seeing the possibility.
You got to think, okay, this year happens. He's still on the team. I mean, short of them winning the NFC conference, being conference champs, I mean, is there any turning back? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't think that this can continue if they just end up being a one and done again in the playoffs.
And we've seen what's happened. I mean, the fiasco with Eli Manning in New York, where do we want him as a quarterback? Do we not want him as a quarterback? Mm-hmm. They couldn't make up their mind. We've seen this in a lot of places, and boy, that ain't good when people can't make up their mind about the QB and have this kind of drama. So
you got Brady signing another contract I just saw, and he's going to be around there forever. I think he signed until he's 65.
4 years. I know. If you told me, before last season, that Tom Brady would sign a 4-year extension after playing one season with a non-Patriots team, I would have said you were crazy.
So how does this work? Because I keep reading this thing. So is he sign a 4-year deal and then it voids something so that he can not hurt their cap space? Is what I'm understanding. Joe probably knows better than any of us.
I don't even know what you just said there. It's the new math to me.
I wish I knew. I don't know. It might have something to do with the bonuses that go into if he wins. He gets money that way, so it doesn't hit the cap space. But
Steve, you're making it more like we're going to have to talk to Mitch. I told you I don't want to talk to that guy.
Well, basically by him doing this, he's saving the Buccaneers $19 million against the cap this year.
Well, there's the other thing. And this is why Tom Brady is the GOAT, because he's not the highest paid quarterback because of things like that.
He's figuring out ways to keep his team intact.
Yeah. Dak Prescott, who just signed a $1 billion deal, and Russell Wilson are not going to win you anything because they have too much money. Look, I don't begrudge anybody, but Dak Prescott's not going anywhere. There's no way the Cowboys are winning anything. He's making too much money. And I think we're in the same boat. It's just, Tom Brady shows you how, he shows you how to make a lot of money and then how to give some of it back so you can keep winning.
It is weird hearing you guys talk about Russell Wilson the same way people talk to me about Tom Brady when they said he was going to leave the Patriots. Because I said, there's no chance, there's no way.
Right.
And then it was just one day out of the blue, all of a sudden, boom, he's gone.
Stories on Reddit. He's flying somewhere.
Yeah, he's buying a house. That's what it was. And
putting out Bible verses that when we read between the lines, he's saying, I'm going to Chicago.
Giselle's dropping hints. I feel it.
I mean, seriously, when he brought up the tight end who I can't remember from the Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham. When they brought up Jimmy Graham not being a good blocker, I do remember that because Pete Carroll loves everybody on the offense who can block because he's a run first guy, and all your wide receivers, you got your fullbacks, you got all of these tight ends, they all can block. And that's not what a guy like Russell Wilson is really wanting to see. He's wanting to see a 50-50 at least. And when it comes to passing, and that's not Pete Carroll. And of course, Pete's a defensive minded guy. I don't see how the two of them can exist, especially if there's a power vacuum, because they both have different motives.
I think we learned earlier this morning in one of the stories we talked about what we need to do for the next 3 months is handcuff Russell Wilson to Pete Carroll and get them to figure it out.
Wow. Oh, just like that couple in the Ukraine.
Exactly.
Oh, that worked out really well.
Well, they're still together.
They still together.
The guy is not going to Chicago, is he?
It's nothing like a hostage that'll keep them from leaving.
Wow.
That's how we do it. You know what? I've learned that from all good history, Steve.
This text comes in a weird time because I feel like the answer is right now, but they want to know, hey, guys, what time of the day do you feel that you're the most stupid?
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
6 to 10 a.m.
You know that whenever we do get a chance to talk to Mitch will go, yeah, that entire hour, you guys were the stupidest I've ever heard you. Oh, man. Yeah.
I'd say from 6 a.m. till about maybe, 8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. Okay.
That's what I
wasn't expecting the last half hour there. The last 90 minutes of the show I thought you were giving me, but you went to the p.m.
No, right around bedtime. It's just
yeah, seriously, dude. I think I'm with you on that one. I think I'm right there with you.
In all honesty, I don't know about you guys, but it's that window around 11:30 to about 3 where I'm just in this weird dead zone. And my wife even knows why am I even having a conversation with you to make a decision? It's just I'm talking to someone, but he's not all there.
Yeah, I know I should be napping, but I'm resisting, and it's
you're like my daughter Tatum. She's doing that right now too.
Yeah, see that? I knew your kid and mine would find something in common. But then that's where I go stupid because it's maybe I should lie down. I've been up since 4:30. Maybe I should lie down.
And then you're like, well, maybe I should look at my phone. And then you go down a stupid wormhole.
Oh, right, dude. My phone has never made me smarter.
Or you could be like Tatum, I should lie down. I'm sucking my thumb. I'm acting cranky. All right, we'll put you in your crib. You lay down, and we leave, and then we look in the monitor, and now you're standing up and you're making sounds.
Yeah.
It's you faked this out.
That makes sense.
I feel like she's just like her father, to be honest with you. I've seen that entire behavior.
She does fart, too.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There's the kid. All right, we got a big question that needs to be answered. What do Ryan Castle and a playground have in common? Oh, actually, a playground slide. Hold on. Okay. What do Ryan Castle and a playground slide have in common? I'm going to tell you at 9:51 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW. And now, the Ryan Castle question of the day.
What do Ryan Castle and a playground slide have in common?
I might burn your ass. Remember the old metal ones, man? Those things would get hot.
In the summer, and you have your shorts on.
Yeah, these kids don't know. They don't know what we went through.
It's amazing we survived as a species.
I'm telling you right now, those kids with their little, the little, you want a slide that doesn't burn your butt. Wow, you need to be taken care of, huh, Jimmy? Well, guess what?
I'll tell you, though, those plastic ones now, though, the electricity in those, I mean, they'll shock the hell out of you.
Well, no, who doesn't like a little shock once in a while, especially that little kid that won't behave?
But the old ones stunk because not only would they burn you, but they'd also you get stuck and you get that massive wedgie while your legs are being burnt.
Yeah, I mean,
they really were torture devices.
They really, really were. Yeah. Well, this is a fascinating story, and it's from our great state of Washington. Cops recently raided the home of a 30-year-old by the name of Dustin in Burbank, which is near the Oregon border. And they were looking for a bunch of catalytic converters that he was accused of stealing off of people's cars. And so when they get into his house, what they find is a big playground slide, 400-pound slide attached to his kid's bunk bed, which was a slide that actually did go missing in December.
So he stole the slide?
He stole the slide.
But it was for his kids.
That's true. Father of the year.
I'm pretty sure he probably, if I had to bet, it would be, he stole the catalytic converters too. Ryan Castle, he just stole our hearts. And he's up next to the 12-pack.
BJ and Migs play of the day.
So it says, I got my husband a Manscaped razor for Christmas. Won't nick your junk and it keeps it very smooth. Highly recommend it.
Right,
for me, I get a little too aggressive. I'm like, I don't want to put the attachment on. I've got steady hands. And then all of a sudden and you're like, you got to be kidding me. And then it's like, I can't get it to stop bleeding. And you can't put a Band-Aid on that because that's just not going to help matters because taking that Band-Aid off will be a disaster in itself. So now you're wrapping it with like toilet paper.
Oh, that's sexy.
And then you got to explain it to your wife because you're like, why you keep grabbing that area? I'm like, well.
Because my junk's cosplaying as a mummy.
Oh, there we go.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's another question from a listener. I have a mountain of credit card bills and consumer debt. Can I still keep my house if I file bankruptcy?
Yes, you almost always can keep your home and your house, your car in a bankruptcy. Depending on what type of bankruptcy you file, would depend on whether or not, for example, you can keep your vehicles if you have payments on them still. You can almost always keep your home if you're current on the payments on your home, even in full bankruptcy. In Chapter 13, you can also keep those items. If you're behind on your house, you could catch your house payments up in a Chapter 13, take off a second mortgage in a Chapter 13. So keeping your primary assets like a home and car is almost always possible in bankruptcy.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. And thanks for listening.